Hey everybody, we got early fan access to watch Beau's Afraid because we're really cool. And this is a new AMC. We've never been to this one before, but look at it. This one looks crazy. This is a big event in Tampa. I don't know what the heck I just watched.
Well, so I think I know what you're going to say. I know what I'm going to say. We haven't said anything.
We haven't talked to each other.
I'm just going by your reactions throughout. I'm going to say you didn't like it.
I didn't love it.
Okay.
I think it was Ari Aster's weakest film, feature film. I think for sure, personally. I mean, there were some parts that were genius. Mm-hmm. Other parts that I was just watching thinking, why the heck is this in the film? And then toward the end, it all started to get put together. And then directly after that scene, it just strayed away. I felt like 30% of the film was fluff and unnecessary.
There definitely was some gratuity there with, spending time on stuff. But
yeah,
what I would say, and we won't spoil anything, because I feel like this is a puzzle you need to solve as you go through
Absolutely.
it. You're going to be really lost at times, and then it'll kind of get clear. But so this is all I will say. It's not a spoiler at all. I would say you need to look at this as like Everything Everywhere All at Once, mm-hmm. with some horror embellishments in it. So if Everything Everywhere All at Once, if you love that movie, I feel like you'll kind of get this. If you hated that movie, then you're not going to like this at all because what you have to think of is this is an allegory, and the only thing that I will say is it's really about trauma and mental health and people putting pressures on you and society ignoring you and things like that. But I will say that it does make sense at the end. I was afraid it was going to just end and everyone's like what?
Right. Yeah.
I spent all this time on nothing. It does end, and there's definitely an ending to it. But I will say the one thing that's interesting is to show kind of, we saw this with a moderate crowd. I mean, it's early, so there weren't a lot of people there. But there's a reason why you're going to sit through the end credits, and I won't tell you whether you should or whether you shouldn't, but not one person left.
Yeah, nobody.
And that's never happened outside of a comic book movie or, some big summer blockbuster. Oh, well, there's an after credit scene. I won't tell you if there is or there isn't. I'm just going to tell you that every audience member, literally everyone, stayed.
Yeah, appreciating.
Yeah, so you're just that invested in the story, and you're like, what do you mean they stayed? It'll make sense if you see it. But everyone stayed, and I felt like that was kind of that investment in the character because, I think we all related in some ways.
I think that's the issue because I can see why he's so relatable and why the average person can get behind this character, but I just couldn't. I didn't. I mean, I was investing myself in him and the romance and then the story about what's going to happen in his future, and that's not a spoiler. You see it in the trailer. But I just felt like I couldn't invest. I love Joaquin Phoenix. He was incredible in this movie, but I don't relate to his character at all. I mean, and he's kind of shy, timid. He doesn't want to say anything, so he kind of lets other people dictate his life, and I guess I just don't relate to that. Maybe.
Well, he's a victim of his paranoia, his mental health.
Right, there's a lot of mental health to go into this, and you have to think about it in that aspect because a lot of it is, this might be what it looks like in his head.
Right. So this is definitely an allegory.
You are absolutely thinking, is it in his head or is it reality? The same way you do with Joker. Which there's a lot of similarity between this and with Joker, so I assume that's why Joaquin Phoenix took on the role. I mean, at least with that being one of the reasons. Even that being said, I still feel like the whole middle section of the movie was just totally unnecessary. But maybe I'm missing something.
Well, I think it was kind of. I think it sets up the end. You definitely could have done some trimming. It's long, but it didn't feel long. Like I was not bored.
It felt long to me.
Yeah, I wasn't bored for a minute though because I was trying to figure out, what's happening, what's the reality. Is this important? Is this not important? Mm-hmm. And I felt very satisfied. Like I was, engaged the whole time. I didn't go to the bathroom once.
Yeah.
3 hours. Despite having a whole big drink 15 minutes before. I think his performance, Joaquin Phoenix, is incredible in this. I mean,
all the acting is phenomenal.
Yeah, all of it is great. He is definitely, if he's not an Oscar contender, then something's wrong. Because even though it's early in the year, that performance I think is going to stick. So I would just say if you go into this as an allegory, it's definitely I think you'll follow along and you'll understand it. I love Ari Aster's movies. This is probably my third favorite. It's Hereditary, Midsommar, and this, but only because this is a hard one to watch a lot of times.
Yeah.
Like I'll watch it again at some point because now that I've experienced it, it's one of those great ones to go back and look and say, oh, that was significant. Or, oh, that's why they did that. That's why this had to do with that. But I felt like it touched on every kind of
I feel like I
paranoia.
caught in a lot of that. I feel like I guessed the plot before it was given to us, and maybe that's why I got bored. But I don't know. I mean, I don't want to grade this because it doesn't feel like a movie that you want to slap a grade onto.
No,
you know, it feels like you should experience this for yourself and form your own opinions. But if I had to give a grade, B minus, maybe a B. You know, I'd give it like 7.1 out of 10, which I know is a C on a different scale, but you know.
Yeah. Well, that's fair. I would say that it's definitely tackles all the phobias that we feel as people nowadays. There's financial stress, there's mass shooting stress, there's childhood trauma, there's abuse, there's I don't know that there were a whole lot of topics that they body shame. Like I don't think there was really anything.
It's an extremely vulgar movie, by the way.
You think it was extremely vulgar?
Absolutely. The first hour of the film, with all the things we saw, all the people we got to see, and all the stuff written on the walls.
Oh, well, I mean, that it felt like being in a big city.
Yeah, well.
You've lived in Miami. What are you talking about?
Yeah, in New York.
In New York. Well, then, hello. So I think it definitely was. It has to be hard. It has to be difficult. I was kind of struggling in the beginning, going like, I think I'm going to have a mental health crisis in this because I'm so stressed out over, everything he's experiencing and feeling. I feel like they did a good job of capturing paranoia and mental health and all that stuff because
Absolutely.
I look back and I think, this is exactly what I feel when, I'm not sure that my credit card is going to decline or not, and that stress of that kind of stuff. So I think there's just a lot covered in that. And so I would definitely grade it an A+. It's because I just feel like it's just the visionariness of it, the care they put into it. Yes, there's some things that are unnecessary, but it's kind of like a paper if you're grading, like maybe gave too many examples or whatever, but it's such a brilliantly written paper. I mean, I can't give anything but an A+, so I definitely would give it an A+. But I definitely would say Hereditary is definitely my very favorite. Midsommar in the middle, but it's really hard to watch. Like, Midsommar stresses me out, but it's such a morbidly beautiful film. You can't, not look at it, and this is the same way. If you're an Ari Aster fan, I think you'll enjoy it. Just think of it as everything everywhere all at once, but with a little bit of Midsommar kind of stirred in.
Yeah. This really isn't a horror movie either. It's not.
Well, I think it's a different kind of horror movie. I think it's a different kind of horror movie. It's like a reality horror movie.
Yeah.
It's not so much monsters in the closet. It's more about the monsters inside us and around us. So I would consider it a horror movie, but just not your standard horror movie. But there were times where I was really terrified. I was intrigued. But I was not bored.
Yeah.
I wasn't bored for a minute, and I'm glad I didn't have to go to the bathroom because I was afraid I would miss something. Because if you miss 30 seconds to something, you could miss something really important.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so I'm giving it a B. Darryl's giving it an A+. So really, just go out and watch this film and form your own opinion, and let us know what you think.
Yeah, and if you didn't like it, don't come at us because this is our opinion, our experience.
Yeah.
But we hope that you will like it.
Absolutely.